Let's face it, setting goals is easy, but sticking to them, that's a whole different story. How many times have you started the year determined to crush your goals only to lose steam a few weeks later? The struggle's real and you're not alone. Studies show that only 19% of people maintain their New Year's resolutions by the 2-year mark. So why is it so hard to stick with what we set out to do? Today we'll talk about the biggest mistake you make when setting goals this time of year or any time of year, depending on when you're listening to me, and what you can do differently to create lasting success in 2025 and way beyond. So stay tuned. Well, hello, welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Dr. Abby Medcalf. And before we jump in, there's a few quick announcements. One is that I'm going to be taking a 2-week break. I will miss you, but I do this every year. I take 4 weeks off. I take 2 weeks off right around now, around the holidays, and I take a couple weeks off in the summer. I'm here with you every single week and have been. This is my 7th year. A season is a full year for me. So, I need time to rejuvenate and to take time off, and I am modeling healthy behavior. So I will miss you while I'm gone, and I'm sure you'll miss me. And then I'll be back on January 8th, 2025. And then, so with the regular podcast, and then the Patreon is starting the week of January 13th. I have a Patreon waitlist link. So are you ready? Get ready. And I'll say it again at the end of the broadcast, but it's abbymedcalf.com, my regular website, /Patreon wait list. Well, all one words. And Patreon is Patreon wait list. All one. No dots, no dashes, no nothing. So abbymedcalf.com /Patreon waitlist. And then what will happen is we're starting on January 13th. So I will send out, we'll send out things to let you know, okay, you can sign up now. And then you can choose what tier you want to be in. And for people who sign up in January, the first 2 weeks of January are going to be free because why? Because I love you. And I was thinking, why have I wanted to start in January and, I'd love for you, why not have a free 2-week trial? If you sign up another time, if you're listening to this in March of 2025, that free trial is not available to you. Want to be really clear. It's only for people. It's only those first 2 weeks of January of 2025. That's it. However, I hope you sign up whenever you're listening. And the tiers, I've talked about them. I'll talk about them again at the end of the broadcast. But really excited about that. And then the last announcement is that the Boundaries Made Easy workbook is going to be out at the end of December. I apologize. It was supposed to be out mid-December, right around now, or next week, and it's not going to happen. So, I got editors. I've got, we have to load it up on Amazon. There's just things that got away from us. I apologize. I like to make a promise and stick to it. So it's close. We're a couple weeks off, basically. And so what you can always do is come to the shop page on abbymedcalf.com. There's a tab for shop, and you'll see it in there when it's available. It often shows up there quicker than it shows up in Amazon. So, maybe once a week, take a look. But it's starting, the third week of December. But it'll be there. I was hoping it would be a Christmas gift or a Hanukkah gift or a Kwanzaa. Oh, we're late for all of those. But anyway... enjoy when you get it. All right, let's go. So here you are, ready to kick some ass starting January 1st or next Monday or the first of the month or tomorrow, whenever it is. Okay. So you set the goal, you've prepared, and it's 2 weeks in and you're killing it. So let's say you did a New Year's resolution, you're 2 weeks, it's mid-January and you're killing it, right? But within a month, by February 1st, or again, 3 to 4 weeks, whenever you start this new journey, you've likely already given up. And so the research studying, for example, New Year's resolutions, which is very similar to other goal setting research, is that over a 2-year period, they found that although 77% of participants maintained their resolutions for 1 week, this number declined to 19% after 2 years. So roughly 20% of people will keep the resolution going. And again, that's true for most goals, even if it's not a New Year's resolution. So it's not just you. Okay. So I want to say that first. And of course, most people start with really great intentions, but sustaining those goals over the long term proves challenging. And because you've already tried, that's why you're listening right now. So why is this so universally hard? And I want to say that first. Please don't. I know some people seem to do it with ease, but those are very few and far between people. Maybe you see them on social media or somewhere else. You're like, oh, I should be like this person. You're human. So, I'm going to give you kind of the mistake you're making today and how to get around that. Because me, I always give the how-to and what you're doing wrong and how to fix it. So it's universally hard because you're focusing on the goal and not how you feel and how you want to feel in the goal. Okay? So that's the big mistake you make when you're setting goals at any time is you're ignoring your feelings. Okay? Motivation, what do I say all the time? Motivation is a state, not a trait. So yeah, you're feeling motivated in the moment. I can't wait. I'm going to go grocery shopping, get all this new food in the house. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to, whatever your goal is. But motivation, as I always say, is a fickle mistress or mister. And you can't rely on that. You cannot rely on motivation. It's not going to work. That's why you have to lean into habits. So, but how do you start that habit? Exactly, right? It kind of, it feels like you're chasing your tail all the time. So that's the bit. Okay. So the mistake you're making is setting logistical goals before feelings goals. So let me say that it's part of this. Okay. What you want to do first is decide how you want to feel in 2025 or in your body or in a month or around your finances or whatever the goal is or in your relationship. Okay. That's what you want to think about. And so when you're clear on how you want to feel, it will not only make it easier to stick to your goals, which again, I'll explain in detail in a minute, the step-by-step process, but it will change the very goals you set. And I'll tell you, this happens all the time for me. I think of something like, my goals tend to be like the subtitle of my boundaries book. I want connection, ease, and joy. I feel that a lot. I want connection. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel joyful, inspired. Okay. So now when projects are always coming to me, for example, for work. Okay. So that's my overall feeling goal. I want to feel that way everywhere. That's just how I want to feel in 2025. Got it? So now when I look at my relationships, when I look at what trips I might plan, what vacations, how I'm going to spend my money, what I'm going to do around my food and fitness, and how I act in my relationships, right, should all go back to those feelings. I should want to feel that way everywhere because you can't decide you want to feel relaxed and joyful and then work 90 hours a week. It's not going to happen. And so it's going to affect it and not be rude or mean to your partner all the time because you're so exhausted from work. You're not going to get the feeling goal. And really the only reason we want any goal is for how we think we'll feel at the getting of it. The only reason you want more money is because of how think you'll feel on the other side, how you think you'll feel when you have more money, how you think you'll feel when your butt looks good or whatever, whatever your thing is. You're looking for a feeling. That's the whole jam. So that's what you have to focus on. So I get offered things, all the time. People want to collaborate with me. I've been offered TV shows. I've been offered all kinds of things and I get and not just what I get offered, what I come up with, right? Oh, I want to write a book on this, or I want to do that, or let's just say I'm just on career right now. And what happens is I then come back to how I want to feel. So if I want to feel relaxed and joyful and connected, but I'm taking on 40 projects, it's not going to align. Do you see what I mean? So when I know my feelings goals, I do this with all my clients. I can then figure out what I want to say yes or no to as far as projects, or again, the goals I want to set, the more logistical goals I want to set. Do you see what's going on here? This is so important. Okay. Now let me take this deeper though. Okay. Because it also relates to how you stay motivated and how you make changes. And I'm going to talk about two books and I know everyone's thinking of Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he is a lovely, fabulous human. And Atomic Habits is a great book. Go read it. But I will tell you the books that I rely on for all this. And there's an amazing book by their brothers, actually, Chip and Dan Heath. It's called Switch: How to Change Things When Change is Hard. And in it, right, because that's what we're talking about, and in it, they use this kind of brilliant metaphor to explain why change, including like sticking to goals or resolutions, is difficult. They talk about the rider and the elephant. I'm going to explain this to you today, and it's all going to become very clear. And now I want to say that this is actually taken from another book that's one of my all-time favorite books. I mean, of all time. This is an idea, The Elephant and the Rider, that was originally developed by Jonathan Haidt, Haidt, and his really incredible book called The Happiness Hypothesis. He's written a bunch of books. They're all amazing. I highly recommend him if you like to read. The Righteous Mind. If you want to understand why people voted the way they did here in the United States, you read The Righteous Mind. His books are incredible, Jonathan Haidt. But he wrote this book called The Happiness Hypothesis. And the Heath brothers did a really excellent job of adapting his rider elephant thing to why change is difficult. And so they're kind of a brilliant duo to read together. So understanding that this is how your brain works goes a long way to helping you achieve goals you set for yourself. And I think that a lot of books and a lot of people who are out there talking about goals do not understand this, do not explain this, because I always do. And so we miss a lot. So the rider and elephant metaphor. Okay, let me quickly explain this rider elephant metaphor. I want you to literally think of some huge elephant, with a little person on top riding and steering the elephant. I'm sure you've seen this on a nature show or maybe even in person. Maybe you've ridden an elephant. I don't know. But when you think of a huge elephant, right, these massive creatures, and there's some little man usually on top kind of riding this elephant. Women do it too, I'm sure. But you've seen it if you've seen videos and other things. So picture that in your head. And in our case, and think about how it seems like, how is that little tiny rider making that elephant go where it wants, right? So in our case, the rider represents, in this metaphor that we're using for change and how to really, again, be happy and achieve your goals. In our case, the rider, that little person on top of the elephant, represents your logical, rational mind. It plans, it analyzes, it sets goals. The rider is great at coming up with strategies, right? I'm going to wake up early, go to the gym, or I'm going to eat more vegetables this week. Your rider's great at this. I'm going to be nicer to my partner. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to have sex with my partner every day, whatever, okay? And then there's the elephant. The elephant is your emotional, impulsive side. It's driven by your feelings, by desire, fear, comfort. So while the rider might set a goal to eat healthier, okay, the elephant wants some chocolate cake or a stiff drink after a stressful day, or to sit and watch some streaming shows for 5 hours after work, right? The elephant, of course, is more powerful than the rider. So if they're not aligned, the elephant will overpower the rider pretty easily, right? That it doesn't, again, take a genius to figure out. And so that's how I want you to think of all this. Your emotions, that elephant is going to take off running towards the chocolate cake pretty quickly. So if those things aren't aligned. So you can think all the things you want. You can be as logical as you want. You can come up with 40 plans. But if you don't take care of the rider, the elephant itself, then you're going to be in trouble. And there's something else we'll talk about called the path. So because that's the last part of this equation that the Heath brothers talk about, and they call it the path. So there's the rider, the elephant, and the path. And the path represents your environment or your circumstances. So if the path is clear, your environment supports your goals, change is easier. If the path is cluttered with obstacles, like Oreos in your house or no accountability system, the rider and elephant struggle to make progress. And I know this probably speaks to you. It's why I love it, because it seems so obvious, yet until someone really puts words to it. And there's science behind this, by the way, tons of it. Again, I'll link to everything in, as I always do. Do you see though how this gets in the way? So why this matters for resolutions, for goals, for any of that is that this metaphor really explains why your logical goal setting often fails. Okay? Because the logic sets the resolution, I'll exercise every day. The elephant, your emotion, resists. I'm tired. It's cold out. Netflix is calling. Whatever, right? I want to do some bed rot today instead. I can't find my gym clothes, whatever. So the path isn't clear. There's no set plan. Your workout clothes are, buried in the laundry. Your gym is 20 minutes away, right? So ultimately, when the rider and elephant aren't aligned, change really feels and becomes very difficult or even impossible. So the rider, of course, knows what to do, but the elephant resists because change feels too big or scary or uncomfortable or any of those things. Do you see it now? And you're left feeling, I know, because you talk to me all the time. I'm a loser. I'm not motivated. I can't get inspired. What's wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you. You are human. It is the most human thing of all to have trouble with change in this way, especially in this way. So, and in the happiness hypothesis in that book, Jonathan Haidt, the author, really emphasizes that the elephant, the emotion, drives action. The elephant, your emotions are what drive your actions. The rider, the logic, can only steer. Okay. So, but if the elephant isn't motivated or engaged in some way, the rider's not going to be able to steer very well, is he or she? So this highlights, really why we often fail to follow through on the goals we set, on the resolutions we make. Logic alone isn't enough. And goals based solely on willpower or intellectual reasoning, they don't succeed because they don't address the elephant's emotional needs. Do you get it? Do you see it? I know. See, it sounds simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is sort of simple when you think about it in the correct context, in the correct frame. And instead of, self-flagellating, instead of beating yourself up, I want you to really think like, oh, okay, this is the way I need to approach things from now on. So there is a best approach given this framework, and I'm going to give it to you right now. Why? Why, Abby? Because Abby loves you. Because I love you. I'm going to give it to you. Here you go. And I want a quick reminder that the podcast, I always write a corresponding blog post for. And that blog post is on my website, abbymedcalf.com, and it's under relationship tips and tools. So if you're listening right now and you're just trying to listen and take it in, or if you're watching me on YouTube, hey, leave a comment, subscribe, like it, something, give me some love. And by the way, if you haven't left a review for the podcast yet, please do so. But you know what I mean? Like if you're listening it or consuming it in some other way, you don't have to memorize all this. You can go later to the website. It's going to be right there. And it's not a transcript. I want to be really clear. It is an actual, I take time, yes, because I love you, to write it out so that you can just copy and paste it or take notes from there. You don't have to take notes taking notes is great, but you can go back and get everything in one place. Yes, that's how much I give because I know I'm trying to be as helpful as possible. And to me, that's as helpful as possible. Okay, so to succeed in sticking to your goals or resolutions, you've got, what did I just say? You have to align the rider, the elephant, and the path. Those things have to get aligned. And here is how to do it. Step 1, you have to direct the rider. Number 1, you have to direct the rider. You have to give clear directions. The rider, remember, the rider's very logical. He or she or they like clarity and plans, but can get overwhelmed by complexity, by a ton of things. And forget it if you have ADHD or something else, or anxiety or some other issue. But even for anybody who doesn't have those things, the rider can easily get overwhelmed by any sort of complexity. So it's very important to break goals into small, actionable steps. Okay. I know you want the quick, I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, or I want to whatever. It's just not going to happen. I want my relationship to feel better today. What do I always say? Great relationships are, uh, great relationships aren't built in a day. Great relationships are built daily. Sorry, I almost forgot what I always say. Right? It's that daily stuff, the compound effect of doing small things every day that eventually adds up. You're going to I really need you to give up on it all has to happen today. And if you do it this way, you will stick to it. In 3 months, your relationship will feel different. In 3 months, your body will feel different. Give yourself 3 months. Think of it more that way. And by the way, it takes an average of 66 days to make a habit, which is the work of Philippa Lawley and her colleagues at University College London. Very famously, if you read James Clear in Atomic Habits, he quotes her everywhere because as he should, her research is impeccable. So to me, the 3 months, because it's an average of 66 days, some people take a year, or most of a year. Some people take a month. It's an average of 66 days. So 90 days to me gives you a nice time to think about that. So whenever you're starting something, think of those 90 days. Okay. Just think of 90 days. So if you break the goal into small actionable steps, it starts to make more sense. So instead of saying, I'm going to get fit this year, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes every night after dinner, or 20 minutes if you feel up to it, or 5 minutes if that's all you feel like you got. I've mentioned this before, when my clients say to me, I'm going to join the gym, I'm going to do a boot camp. I'm like, no, first, just walk every night after dinner. Can you do that? Walk every day to work, walk home from work, bike to work, like something that's doable, do that first. At lunch break every day, walk once around the block. Just do that. You can build from there. And this really links into the wonderful book by BJ Fogg, Tiny Habits, which I had BJ Fogg on the podcast. I've had very few guests on the podcast. So I have a real educational crush on BJ Fogg because he's so brilliant in the work he does. And Tiny Habits is a wonderful book, but I will link to that interview I did with him also on all the places where I link all this stuff on the website and on the YouTube page. Because you might want to go listen to that, because the research is impeccable around just setting these smaller goals and building from there. So you're not going to get thin by tomorrow. You're not going to lose 10 pounds, but you're going to start to feel better. You're going to start to feel, when you walk for 5 minutes every day, it's going to start to feel really good. You're going to start to feel like a badass, and you're going to be like, hey, maybe I'll do 10 minutes today. And you're going to start to build. And it's about a healthier lifestyle and really making changes that are going to take effect. You've tried the other way for years. You have. It hasn't worked. So why not try this way? Let your impatience and urgency are never where you want to take action from, right? You always want to take action from inspiration and really healthy, good feelings, sort of love-based emotions, I call them, and not from fear-based emotions. Okay. So the other thing you want to do is tie your goals to some long-term purpose or your bigger identity. So I'm a healthy, active person. It gives the writer a guiding principle. I'm someone who is kind to my partner. I'm someone who works out. I'm someone who chooses healthy food most of the time. Do you see where I'm going here? I'm someone who focuses on patience with the people in my life and myself. Do you see where this is going? I'm someone who speaks kindly to myself. This is that sort of overriding identity. Okay. Step 2 is you have to motivate the elephant. So you got to tap into those emotions. You have to inspire the elephant to want to change. So focus on the emotional benefits rather than the logical reasoning. Okay. You have to visualize success. Imagine how you'll feel. Really close your eyes and imagine how you'll feel once you achieve the goal. So you could picture yourself running a race or feeling confident in your body. One of the things I have clients do who are struggling with weight is one of the things, if you're struggling with weight, especially women, I think, getting dressed in the morning is hard. if you're struggling with your body image, I should say. I shouldn't even say weight. I should say with your body image. You getting dressed, you're maybe changing your clothes 10 times, you're wearing the same thing over and over because you don't feel comfortable in things. So I tell them to close their eyes and imagine picking out clothes in the morning that all look great. They all look great. Imagine the ease. You open your closet, you're excited to get dressed. Oh, I've got this and this. I love how I look in this. You're not trying to hide anything. You're not trying to cover your butt. You're not trying anything. You are just putting things on and feeling really relaxed in the clothing, feeling beautiful, handsome, sexy, inspired, whatever you like your clothing to do for you. You are feeling free. Free is my favorite. That feeling, see how micro that is, how tiny that is, but you want to grab something like that that's really happening probably every day. And you want to grab into that emotion and then turn it towards the positive visualization. Does that hopefully make sense? Do you see that? If you spent 1 minute in the morning doing that, you'd be amazed at the changes in your life. Find your why. Ask yourself, why does this goal matter to me? You have to connect it to a deeper emotional driver. Like maybe it's improving your health to be there for your kids. So again, you might visualize like, okay, I really want to work on my health for that bigger piece. I want to be there for my kids. I want to be able to carry my grandkids around. I want to live long enough to have grandkids. That's me because I, was a little older having kids. So whatever that is for you, I want to feel, I picture myself sort of going on vacation and walking places and feeling strong and enough to do that. You got to get very micro. That big thing, I just want to feel good. I want to feel proud of myself is all bullshit. You want to feel proud, like proud when, where, how, what exact situation. You have to get really specific. And then, shrinking the change is also part of this. Again, that's like tiny habits. Start small so the elephant doesn't feel overwhelmed. Don't commit to a 60-minute workout. Start again with that 5 or 10 minutes of walking after dinner. Start smaller, shrink the change because again, you will build. As you start to do that, you'll do the next thing and do the next thing. It is how I've done everything in my business. I will tell you that right now. Like people ask me all the time, oh my God, because I have a weekly love letter that goes out. Oh, if you're not signed up for that yet, you want to be. It's on the website under love letter. It's just inspirational letter every week. It's nothing more, nothing. I don't sell anything. I'm not trying to get you to buy something in the love letter, although the love letter is going to come out twice a month starting in January, starting mid-January. And then if you want to pay $1.99 a month, you're going to get it every week. So I am changing that a little, I have to say, but because I do spend so much time on it. But you could still get it every other week or twice a month, and, for free. And it's still the same fabulous love letter that everybody else gets. But I started that, my podcast, even stuff I do now, I just started doing stuff on TikTok. I just start where I can. I'm like, I finally decided that for TikTok, I could do one video a day, Monday through Friday, but I know there's best times to post them. I don't care. I do it when I do it when it's in my schedule. I know that they should be shorter. I don't care. I'm doing the best I can. Like shrink the change, make it more doable. So at least I'm doing it and I'm getting in the habit of doing it. I did it with the podcast and then I slowly added I had the love letter actually first and then I slowly added the podcast. You just add things when you're ready. I never do lots of new things at once. And again, I just start where I can. I can do this way. And for as long as I can, that's what I'll do. And if I can make it better as I go, I will. Right? If you listen to my very first podcast, they're not nearly as good, I don't think, as the ones now because I got better at this over time. I got more streamlined. I got more specific in how I want to give you the information, all the things. So give yourself, a little love in here is what I'm saying. Okay. And step 3 is that you have to shape the path. You have to make the environment work for you. Your environment should make it easy to stick to your goals. Okay. Once again, this podcast could be done very differently. If you're watching me on YouTube, you're going to see I'm speaking into a microphone that's on an arm that I just push out of the way when I'm staring into the screen right now, that I just push out of the way when I'm not using it and just speaking to clients or doing other things on my computer. I use my computer. I have an app. I have Macs, and I use all the programs, GarageBand, QuickTime Player to record. I don't have anything fancy. I don't even have an external camera, like a better I don't have those things because you know why? I mean, maybe one day I will when I have the energy for it. But to me, being weekly, having good sound, so I do have a good microphone. I have a good microphone. But just doing this was the most important thing. Doing it perfectly with tons of production. And yeah, I guess the sound could be better. Certainly the video could be. Certainly other things could be better. But it's really good. It's solid. And that's really all I need. It's solid. I get the information to you. And because there's no obstacles to do, I don't have to go to a studio. I don't have to go through all this stuff. People ask me all the time, who produces your podcast? I do. Like, I mean, I have someone who, I have an assistant and she has assistants that do like the video editing and the audio editing. And we clean it up and do that kind of stuff, or they do. But all I do is this. And I put it up on Dropbox and my team handles the rest because that's how I could get it done. And I have upgraded my microphone over the years, but that's about it. I mean, literally. It's just, and I can't tell you how many people I've tried to help start a podcast, and they are so interested in making it perfect and doing all the things that they never get started. And that's you with the gym. You decide you're going to join the gym. You won't walk 5 minutes after friggin' dinner every night. And you just join the gym, I have to go, and then you don't go, or you go for a week or 2 weeks, and then you stop, and then you're back where you started, but worse is you're not back where you started, you're back behind because now you failed at this multiple times, and now you feel worse and worse about yourself, and that makes me sad. So you have to remove obstacles. If you want to eat healthier, don't keep junk food at home. I don't know what to say. If you do want to go work out in the morning, put out your workout clothes, have them at the ready, have them all ready with your little sneakers and everything. Put the alarm clock across the room so you actually wake up when it goes off. Whatever you have to do, have accountability, have a friend that you work out with or a trainer for a little while till it's a habit. You got to do the things that make it easier to do. And if you always have morning meetings, every other day and then it interrupts your workout time, then don't work out then. Again, do something else. Like you got to think about taking away. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not the best you could ever do, but as you get better, motivation isn't first. Motivation happens after you take the action. This is what people get backwards. They're waiting to feel motivated. They're waiting to feel like it to do the thing. You will never feel like it. I don't know, unless my Gary loves to work out. So I know there's some of you out there like that. I never feel like it ever. But once you start, it gets easier and better. Okay. The other thing you can do is create action, what we call action triggers. You want to tie a new habit to an existing one. So, after brushing my teeth, I'll do 10 push-ups. That was from BJ, I think, Fogg. You go in, you brush your teeth, and literally you could do 10 wall push-ups right there in your bathroom. 10 wall push-ups after you brush your teeth. Go about your business. And then maybe eventually you'll do push-ups on the ground. As you build momentum from actually doing the thing, maybe you'll start doing 15 push-ups, or you start doing them differently. Or you'll do push-ups and you'll walk around the block before breakfast. I don't know. You'll see. It does happen. I promise. It really does. It builds on itself. And then again, which I already mentioned, building accountability, sharing your goals with someone or joining a group with similar goals, anything like that. Step 4, I would say you can do or not do. Again, there's a lot of research to do it, which is why I'm including it. I don't personally always do this because I have trouble with it. I'm not going to lie, being transparent. And that is to celebrate small wins. So, and it is, again, the research is there to support it. So it's something maybe I need to start being better at as I'm trying to tell you to do it. Celebrating even tiny progress creates emotional momentum for the elephant. It does. Again, lots of research on this that I'll link to. So for example, tracking your workouts, journaling about your successes, noting every day. I give this to my clients all the time. 2 wins you had that day and maybe one thing you'd like to do better tomorrow, something like that. Rewarding yourself for sticking to your habit, like watching your favorite show after completing a task. Do you know what I mean? That it's all helpful. So let's put this all together for a minute. Okay. And again, the top goals that people set tend to be around fitness or health. Money is next. Sadly, relationships aren't till like 4 or 5. And I do, by the way, have a relationship goal setting workbook that you can buy on my shop page if you're just looking to set relationship goals. And I talk about the big mistakes people make when they're setting relationship goals because those are different. And so if you're interested in that, you can go over there and get that. It's not expensive, but it's a lot of people buy it and really say it's great. So I'm going to throw that out there. But let's put this all together with like a fitness goal. Okay. So let's say your resolution or your goal is to exercise more. Okay. There it is. I want to exercise more. I know I need to move more. Maybe it's even move more. You haven't even had the exercise word in there. So number one, right, you have to direct the rider. You have to set a clear, specific goal, like walking 10,000 steps daily. But again, I would start that smaller. Walking 2,000 steps daily. If you're sitting on the couch most of the time, I would set a very small goal with that. Attending yoga class 3 times a week, right? Write it down and track your progress. Okay. So you'd get very specific about it, or do it with a friend, or however, get a trainer, whatever that is. You really want to get very specific, shrink the change, and be right there for your wonderful rider. Okay. Now you need to motivate the elephant. Find a reason that excites you emotionally. Maybe you want to feel confident in your favorite jeans or have more energy to play with your kids. Again, start small. So, and again, do that visualization where you're really picturing yourself. Like, you can't just think it. You have to feel it, I guess is what I keep trying to say. So you can't just think, oh, I can't wait to look great in my jeans. You have to feel looking great in your jeans. You have to feel playing with your kids and how much fun that is. And, I remember when my kids were really little, I remember my daughter saying to me once, she goes, oh, can we go do this? Or do you not have the energy? And I was dying inside. I thought, oh my gosh, my daughter, she was probably 4. I must say this so much. Oh, I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the energy for that. Can you imagine how much I was saying that my 4-year-old picked up on it and was actually giving me an excuse to not go play with her? I got to tell you, I made a lot of changes from that day on, but that was very motivating. You know what I mean? So I felt that pain, and that pain was actually very motivating. And then again, I started to picture being with her more and doing the things. And so a lot of it I wasn't motivated to do right away, but I started to do it. And I've heard this again I'm giving you my own examples right now, but all of these are from clients I've had and people I've worked with and all of the places, right? So again, start small. Take a 5-minute walk and build momentum from there, right? If we're talking about getting, with your elephant. And then you have to shape the path. Again, lay out your workout clothes the night before. Schedule workouts at a time when you have the most energy. Remove any barriers by, choose a gym close to home or create a home workout space. Or again, have your neighbor who always goes on walks knock on your door. Something like that. Do you see what we're doing here? We're putting all 3 together. That is the thing. And you have to spend time on the elephant, I would say, more than anything else. You have to spend time aligning your elephant with the goals. You really do. Because when your elephant gets scared, you have to come back to the feeling and give it the feeling. And that's how it calms down. So to wrap up, I mean, to me, this metaphor really just beautifully illustrates why change is hard. And why so many of us struggle to stick to our goals. If your resolutions or goals have failed in the past, it's not because you're lazy or lack willpower. I bet you're getting to work. I bet you're, taking care of your kids or taking care of your partner or getting the grocery shopping done or whatever else. I know you're not lazy. You like to say that because this is the one thing you don't do. But or one of the two, you also haven't cleaned out the closet and, that you promised, or clean the garage or whatever. These are not signs of laziness. These are not, or lack of willpower. It's because the rider and elephant weren't working together and the path wasn't clear. So the good news, again, you can harness this power of this framework and really set yourself up for success. I do it with my clients all the time who are having trouble reaching goals. You align that sort of logical mind, your emotional self, and your environment. You align the rider, the elephant, and the path. Your logical mind, your emotional self, and your environment. And again, you'll be really amazed at what you can accomplish when you do all these things together. Okay. All right. That is it for today. A reminder I'm hoping you're going to join me in my Patreon. I'm going to have 3 tiers there. There's going to be so much going on, but mostly it is a wonderful online community. I think I'm going to call that community One Love. It was suggested by one of you listening. Many listeners gave me some names for our community. Some people were like Abby's Army, and I'm like, to me, it's not me. Like, I don't want my name to be the thing of it. But this online community I want to create, where we can all be together, like-minded people coming together. It's One Love, right? It's the One Love community. I think that's what we're going to name it. At least that's our working name. And there's going to be these 3 levels on Patreon, starting at $5, going up to $12. But each one, I'm telling you, is going to feel like you have so much that you get. There's this 2-week free trial only if you sign up January of 2025. You can get the first 2 weeks of January free, and the billing will start in February. So if you hate it, you can just opt out. You can really feel, I think, like you're talking to other people. We're going to set it up so you, again, can have the space to be with other people who are like-minded, maybe to talk deeper about the podcast. I'm going to offer extra journaling prompts and other things with the different podcast episodes. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. If you prepay for the year at any of the levels, you get my 5 to Thrive Relationships Edition course, which is 52 lessons. They come out in emails once a week. It's 5 minutes a week. 5 minutes. If you don't have 5 minutes, I can't help you. It's a lesson that you can do in 5 minutes to help you focus for that week to have healthy, thriving, fabulous relationships. So, and again, look for the Boundaries Made Easy workbook later in this month. I will be gone for 2 weeks. I will be back on January 8th of 2025. And as I think of this last year and all the things that I've accomplished and feel good about, this podcast and this relationship with you is by far in my very top of my list. I mean, the only thing that beats you out is my kids and my very, very close circle of people. It's you guys. It's having this opportunity, and I get to be closer to you soon, which I'm really excited about. I get to hear more from you about what you want to hear about and what you don't. And I'm pretty stoked. So I love you so much. Have a very safe holiday season, whatever you are celebrating, or not. If this isn't a time when you celebrate anything, be safe, be loving to yourself, to others. And I'll see you real soon.